satisfy the need of our present, us living now, you, me, our neighbors, our neighboring countries, our provinces, without wasting the available resources, so that the next and the next to next generation too is able to, for example, drink the water in the same way as we are drinking, eat the same nutritious food that we are eating. Now, please keep in mind keep the definition in your mind, as our session is solely about sustainability today. Now, sustainability can be discussed in three ways, or we can say that sustainability includes three aspects, which are different as well as are interlinked. First, we have the social, we call them pillars of sustainability. First, we have social pillar. It deals with the values that promote equality and respect for the individual rights. Either the company or an organization is working to combat the discrimination, gender pay gap, education. Are they following the laws of ethics? Are they collaborating with international organization, their local government, are working to promote the well-being of all the stakeholders in respect to the quality of life, their education? Are they providing equal opportunities, etc.? Then we have economic pillar of the sustainability. As the name suggests, it deals with the economic capacity of an organization or a business or a firm for its development and expansion. It is minimizing the hazards associated with the processes that supports the environmental conservation. Are they measuring its footprint, like carbon footprint or their water footprint, to minimize the resource exploitation, to avoid the damage to not only that organization or a firm or a business future, but also towards the environment? Like their smart growth, are they their processes or the planning includes the long range or a long term plannings, the research and development, and the cost that they're spending and the profit that they're gaining, are they sustainable or not, for not only for their organization but also for the environment? Third aspect, as the name suggests, environmental pillar solely deals with the environment, that either the organization or a firm or a business, they are managing the resources. Are they protecting the environment? Are they taking steps to not to over exploit the environment, or they are minimizing the damages that their activities or their processes are doing to the environment? Are they restoring or preserving the environment? That these all these aspects, social, economic, environment, everything is included in the sustainability. Basically, as many people might think the sustainability is for environmentalists or only, or it is for the environment, but no, it is, as it deals with how you, me, our near and dear ones, our distant ones, our government, our organizations, our NGOs, our businesses are affected socially, economically, and also how the environment is affected by the activities of every business, every firm, every organization. And sustainability consider the effect of our activities, the activities of the organizations, of the firms, of the businesses, on today as well as on the future generation, in terms of their social lives, in terms of economy, and in terms of environment. Now, with the sustainability, there's a concept called CSR, that is corporate social responsibility, is also linked. Whenever we listen or hear about the sustainability, we also hear about the corporate social responsibility, or CSR. This is also, CSR is also the ISO 26000 is also based on this social responsibility, and the clauses of ISO 26000 explain what types and source deals with the concept of CSR. Anyways, the CSR, when briefly described or briefly defined, is the responsibility of an organization for the impact of its decisions and activities on society and environment through transparent and ethical behavior. Basically, or briefly, we can see that it is actually what the responsibility or commitment of the business, any business, to behave ethically and contribute to the economic development of its own, but also of its stakeholders. Environment development of its own, but also of its stakeholders. Social development of its own, but also of its stakeholders. And stakeholders are what? They include everyone. They include their workers, their employees, their partners, their government, the families of their employees, the society, the community, you, me, everyone who has an impact of the business or the firm's activity is called stakeholder. So considering the effect or impact of an organization activity, it is the duty of the organization to consider how the impact of its activity is on the people, on the local community. It is a duty of an organization, and this concept is called corporate social responsibility or CSR. It is actually synonymous to self-regulation business model and also called corporate citizenship. Okay. And just like the pillars of sustainability, CSR also has different pillars or types, as you can see on your screens. Number first is definitely environmental responsibility, like it is a duty, it is responsibility of the organization or a firm or a business to preserve the nature, to reduce the waste it is generating, to restore the ecosystem, to lessen the negative impacts, etc. Second, we have ethical responsibility, like either the business organization is acting fair, what are their moral objectives, is treating all the clients equally and not on the basis of their gender, ethnicity, culture, etc. Same with the employees, same with the vendors, same with the every stakeholders. Next, we have philanthropic responsibility, that how an organization act and what's its contribution in the philanthropic activity, like charity, like donations, what sort of benefit the organization is giving for the betterment of the society. Are they engaging with the vendors who support their ideas of sustainability? Are they sponsoring the companies or organizations different on a smaller scale that support their ideals of the sustainability? Are they educating different peoples or the community regarding the sustainability? Then we have financial responsibility that include all aspects, but also engage in financial aspects, like either they are researching the new ways to increase their profit, but also in terms of sustainability. Are they developing new skill force? Are they doing any social awareness activities that is not only financially increasing their capacity, but also financially supporting the local community or the people or their employees? Are they doing audits regularly to check their financial क्या कह सकते हैं, practices of their organization, etc.? Now you may think that what's the point of differentiating the concept of sustainability and CSR? Aren't both the concept one and the same thing? Yes, but no as well. There are some differences. There are many differences, although both deals with the same things. For example, both have different vision. For example, if you take a closer look, the CSR often look backwards, like what the company has done for the society. Sustainability, on the other hand, talk about present as well as future, that what the organization, if a corporate is dealing with a corporate sustainability, then corporate or an organization would think that what we can do, what they can do presently, as well as what they can do or they should do in the future, to maintain the sustainable practices. Again, the targets of the CSR often opinion formers like policies, politicians, governments, NGOs, that they are the one, they are forming the opinions that this organization should do this thing, this organization should do this thing in terms of their corporate social responsibility. However, when we look at the sustainability concept, it actually looks at the whole value chain. It includes everyone, from the end consumers to the stakeholders. CSR initiatives typically are actually what a company has their core goal or primary goal, right? So CSR is additional to the core goal of the organization or any business or a firm. You can say that it could be a side project for the organization. But when we seek sustainability, sustainability does what? It embeds all the principles of CSR, principles of sustainability into each and every planning step and each and every optional of organization of any firm, etc. You can say that CSR, social responsibility, is subset of the sustainability, or sustainability, if you call sustainability is a whole circle, then CSR is just a part of it. So this is the difference between the CSR and sustainability. Okay. Now, since CSR, as we have established, that it is wholly, solely an organizational duties, okay, don't you think that there might be chances that organization or businesses or firms are that obviously think selfishly because they think about their own profit and not about the environment? They could find some cheat codes in the concept of CSR or corporate sustainability. Obviously, they could, and they are doing them, and that is called unsustainable corporate social responsibility. And it includes initiative or practices that are not viable or effective in long terms. Either they have limited impact, not long-term impacts. We all know that sustained concept of sustainability includes long-term impacts, right? Then these practices or initiatives might lack the alignment with the business objectives. It could be something that the organization or firm has no objective, it is not related to the objective of that business or firm, or they impose significant financial or operational burdens on the company without delivering adequate benefits. Obviously, an organization would practice sustainability only if it is benefited, right? So there are three types of unsustainable corporate social responsibility, or you can say that three examples. First is greenwashing. You might have heard of it. Greenwashing is what companies often exaggerate their claims of sustainability to appear more socially and environmentally responsible than they actually are. Like most of the organization, for example, let's take an example of Unilever. It tends to claim that they are investing in green packaging, in green synthesis, etc. But do you think their claim is right? I believe no. Their claim might be right in the, maybe in the developed country. They might be producing green packages in the developed country, but I don't see these sustainable practices in my country, here in Pakistan. Now, concept of greenwashing can damage the trust with the consumer and stakeholders when the company's claim appear to be false, right? And sometimes the claim are not 100% false, but rather the claims are selective disclosure of positive information about their about the companies or firms or organization or businesses, environment and social issues, and they hide the negative part of their impact. So this incomplete disclosure or this incomplete information is also called greenwashing. Another concept is tokenism. Similar concept, but it includes that engaging in the CSR or corporate social responsible activities just for the compliance or show, like if there is a rule. If you have to go for the company, have to go for the CSR by the government or by the NGO or by a local authoritative body. So this would be tokenism, that without genuine commitment or positive impact, they are taking part in the CSR. Superficial activity, like for example, occasional charity without addressing the underlying issue or their own systematic challenges. They are ignoring that what they are doing to the environment, and they are only just going for the charity or some galas or giving some charities, ignoring all those issues. That would be tokenism. Sometimes unsustainable CSR includes short-term focus, like short-term gains or public relationship, like investing in one project to gain the popularity, but do not address the ongoing social or environmental issues related to their own business. All in all, the unsustainable CSR result in what? Confusion among the consumers. Like people aren't, we know that the general public doesn't know that what the concept of sustainability is, right? Then when a company claims that they are participating in a CSR or as a corporate social responsibility, and then some social media campaign starts that they, for example, they start about how, and the company claim is false, this would definitely results in confusion among the consumers that are using the products of that particular company or firms, which would definitely lead to the negative impact on the brand evaluation, and the opinions of the consumers or local public will change, and their behaviors regarding that particular brand would change, and which would ultimately affect that particular business or firm. Some examples of unsustainable corporate social responsibility include British Petroleum, for example. They had a program called as Beyond Petroleum in 2000s. They launched this program in 2000s, and they claim that they are committing to renewable energy usage. But do you really think that they commit to the renewable energy, being a fossil fuel profit generating organization? Have they stopped their oil spills? No, obviously there was a very large scale oil spill in 2010 by the British Petroleum. It is called Deepwater Horizon oil spill. Similarly, Nestle's eco-shaped water bottle, they claim that they're using less plastics and they're using green processes and blah blah. But did you heard that their CEO statement that he said that drinking water is not a free commodity, and it's not the right of any particular group. Their exploitation of water resources, their exploitation of the plastic pollution is known by all. And also in Pakistan, they put new stamps on the expired products, and it is and they resend it to the retailers or the shops to be used by the consumer. That is known by all. So I'll leave that up to you to decide that either these organizations are practicing unsustainable CSR or they really are practicing the CSR, the sustainable one. Now, there is another concept. We talked about the unsustainable practices. Then how about sustainable consumption or sustainable practices? This concept simply says the use of the products and services in ways that minimizes the impact on the environment. And it includes, it is also actually goal number 12 of the Sustainable Development Goals that were developed by the United Nations that are to be fulfilled by 2030. And it includes indicators, as you can see on the screen: material footprint, also known as raw material consumption or RMC. This indicator actually discusses that extraction of the materials like mineral oils, like biomass, like water, like fossil fuel, etc., anything that the earth or an ecosystem is providing to us, extraction of that material, and by the organization, by the firm, or by any business for consumption, either in the raw form or original form, or in the form of their manufactured goods and services. It includes all the steps taken from the material extraction to the manufacturing process and finally its end of the life. Either the processes in whole chain are sustainable or not. This material footprint measures this. The second indicator is consumption of the hazardous material. What and how many million tons of the material are is the organization, firm, business is consuming in their product manufacturing, during the import or export of their services or products. Are they hazardous to human health? Are they hazardous to environment? Are they hazardous to animal, or they are hazardous to everything? The next indicator includes circular material use rate, CMU. Material extracted, used, recovered, and fed back into the economy. It includes all these, like ratios of the circular use of the material to overall material usage. That is recycling concept. How much you are using the material, how much you are extracting the material, how much you are using that material into processes, and then how much you are reusing and recycling that extracted material after it has reached its end of life. The next indicator is generation of waste. Household waste, obviously, industrial waste, every type of waste is included. It helps us to uh, uh, measure that are our consumption sustainable or not. Now, all these factors describe how much our consumption actually is sustainable, how much are we impacting our nature and society, and what are we leaving behind for the future generation. Now, related to this concept, we have a concept called as World's Overshoot Day. It is an annual event that is calculated by Global Footprint Network, an international sustainable think tank. Okay? It is actually the date when our demand for ecological resources and services that in that particular year exceeds what Earth can regenerate in year. We all are aware that our whole system is in a cyclic form, right? We are extracting the material, either it is in a form of ore, either it is in a form of water, either it is form of air, nutrients, minerals, everything. Our Earth, our planet has capacity to regenerate. This is whole system. So the World Overshoot Day actually tells us that how much we are using and how much the Earth has a capacity to regenerate that material or that raw material or that resource. Then in a year, that are these equal? Are these not equal? When will the Earth reach its capacity to regenerate the same material in the year? Now, if we look at, actually, it's what input is equal to output. And actually, when we look at these overshoot days, if you would Google it later or now, if you want to, you can say that the world's overshoot day is shifting backwards. Like, for example, in 2000s, the overshoot day was in September somewhere, at the end of the September, I think. And in 2023, it was 2nd August. And in 2024, this year, it is on July 21st, July. So you can see that the capacity of the Earth or planet is reaching to a limit, that we are using or exploiting the resources produced by our planets at a faster pace than it has ability to regenerate, which is extremely alarming. Related to this concept, another concept comes into the mind. You might have heard of a theory by Thomas Malthus. Malthism, it is called. If no, then let me briefly tell you. Malthism was actually proposed by an English economist, I believe, in 1700s. And he wrote an essay on principle of population. And he argued that the population tends to grow exponentially, like a sharp increase. For example, like 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. Population grow in this way, exponential way. However, the resources generated by our planet are only increases arithmetically, like in a constant amount, in a slow amount, like 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, etc. So you can see that rate of increasing population is higher than the rate of resource regeneration. So in simple terms, the population growth is faster than the resource generation. So what do you think would happen when more people have to live with the less resources? He warned us about the poverty, famine, war, and diseases. It's like he predicted before even the concept of sustainability was devised. If this growth of population remained unchecked, he said, the Earth's ability to provide would diminish and environmental degradation would worsen. As you can see nowadays, it is happening, right? The world's overshoot day is a reminder to us what Malthus predicted, right? Now, this discussion leads us to our next topic. It's called triple bottom line. It's, as you can see on your screens, the triple bottom line is the business concept that states firms should commit to measuring their social and environmental impact in addition to their financial performance rather than so generating performance. Generating performance is actually what a single bottom line, right? That the firms only focus on generating profit. But the triple bottom line concept states that they need to focus on the environmental and social impact as well. And there are three P's of the triple bottom line, as you can see on the screen. The first P is profit, the most obvious one. Obviously, the organization work for the profit, right? So the any firm or business organization, they heavily depends upon its financial performance, right? Or the generation of profit. This concept, this P of the triple bottom line, actually deals with how an organization, a firm, or business can initiate or propose plan that without affecting their profit aid to the positive change instead of just focusing on the single bottom line, their profit. That they need to consider the ways or plans or the procedures that not only would help them increase or at least stabilize their profit, but also aid towards the positive or sustainable approaches. Second P suggests that the highlights that the societal or the social impacts of an organization or a firm or a business activities or its commitment to the people. Now, here, keep in mind this firms do need to differentiate between the stakeholders and shareholders. There is a difference between the two. Obviously, because obviously the businesses prefer or value their shareholders as they want to succeed their business, right? They would prefer their shareholders instead of stakeholders. But for an organization to adopt sustainable practices, they we always talk about creating values for the stakeholders, not the shareholders. For their business decisions like customers, employees, community, they need to include all these peoples, not just their shareholders. They need to include the local community. They need to include their consumers. They need to include their employees in every decision making for them to establish a sustainable business or sustainable practice. Now, some of the positive activities may include like volunteer work, their active engagement of the stakeholders, awareness programs, collaboration with the NGOs, etc. The third P is planet. The final component and the most important, obviously, the positive impact on the planet. Since the Industrial Revolution, the businesses, firms, and organizations have impacted the ecosystem. You are aware, right? They have impacted negatively on the planet, on the ecosystem by the resource exploitation, by waste generation, etc. And they have caused consequences like climate change, like global warming, etc. For example, an estimate by International Energy Agency, they estimated that the global energy industry has released like about 135 million tons of methane into the atmosphere in 2022. Don't you think businesses being contributed to the negative impact to the planet may also be helpful in bringing about a positive change by adjusting their, for example, carbon footprint. For example, IBM Consumer Report states that consumers are willing to pay more for the sustainable products. Well, this such type of reports and have also resulted in their practices that, as I already described, into greenwashing, that they lie about their sustainable practices to gain profit. But the fact remains, it is in the hands of the firms, of the business organizations to give positive impact to the planet by bringing innovation and research to the planet. Okay. Uh, our next related topic is planetary boundaries. Now, in year 2009, a planetary boundaries, a concept was proposed by a group of scientists. This is a concept that limits to the impact of human activities on the Earth system. Like if you cross a boundary, the environment or a planet will not be able to self-regulate anymore. This concept is based on scientific evidence that since, as I already described, since the Industrial Revolution, we have managed to disturb the natural system of our planet, right? We are disturbing each and every flow of resources, each and every flow of uh, production of production of resources, production of minerals, production of water, and every aspect of that we are over exploiting since the Industrial Revolution. So this to check or to measure the impact of the industries or industrialization, the concept of planetary boundaries were developed, and it includes like 9 boundaries actually. And these you can see on your screens. That first is climate change is the first boundary. That climate change, as you can see, because of the emission of carbon dioxide, methane, gases, is creating floods, changing weather pattern, changing floods. Where we didn't have snowfall, we are seeing the snowfall. Where there were drought, we are seeing floods, etc. This all is included in the climate change, and this is the part of the planet. This is one of the 9 planetary boundaries that was set by the scientists. The second include change in biosphere. Biosphere is what that all the living, the sphere of life, actually every living thing that exists on our planet, on Earth, is actually biosphere. So change in biosphere is another boundary, and we are seeing that we have lost many species. They are extinct species, like and there is also a change in biosphere integrity, like in the form of invasive species, locomotion or migration of the animals, birds, fishes, etc. For example, we have heard about the insect infestation in many areas, that there were many insects, they came and ate all the crop of that area. That didn't happen last year, but it's happening this year. It's actually because of the climate change or global warming. The insects too need to live in the places where the temperature is normal. So they migrate from one place, or they migrate from their place of origin to another place, hence disturbing the ecosystem of both places. So this is the change in biosphere integrity. Then we have third boundary, that is stratospheric ozone depletion. We are aware that the Earth atmosphere is divided into 4 layers, right? Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, exosphere. These are now troposphere is where we live, right? Stratosphere is above 10 kilometers or 12 kilometers above, and it's the area where ozone layer resides or is present. And ozone layer is actually a layer of gas called as ozone, and it is protecting actually our planet, us, from the harmful radiation from the solar system, especially from the sun, the UVA light, the UVB light, the radiations, everything. It is absorbing all those radiations so that we are protected from those radiations. But The ozone depletion, you might have heard of it, that there's a large gaping hole in over the Antarctica continent that resulted in the development of skin cancer issues, development of blindness issues in many regions of the world. So this is also a planetary boundary devised by the scientists. Then we have biogeochemical flows. Now, the nutrients in the nature are actually uh, maintained by circular motions or by the flow or in the cyclic form. For example, we have nitrogen that comes from the atmosphere, from the nitrogen in the gas by the lightning, as well as it is regulated by the microbes present in the soil. It is converted the atmospheric nitrogen into ammonia, and this ammonia is used to give nutrition to the crops, to the fruits, that to the eatables that we eat. This is just one example. We have phosphorus as well, we have carbon cycle as well, we have oxygen cycle as well. We have all these cycles. So because of our activities, because of the industrial revolution, the biogeochemical flows are being disturbed. For example, changing the microbial community of the soil can also obviously disturb the nitrogen cycle, which would obviously impact the crops or their patterns or their plantation, etc. Next, we have land system change. Land system change, like for example, deforestation. Like for example, because of the deforestation, we are also facing landsliding. Because of the building enormous and giant those dams, we are also creating some tremors in the tectonic plates of the earth. Some studies do suggest that the heavier the structures we are building, uh, heavier would the impact on the tectonic plates that are present beneath us, that are creating small tremors, small earthquakes. So this is also a planetary boundary. Then we have freshwater use. Obviously, we are over exploiting. I think the most overly exploited resource is water. So we are over exploiting the fresh water, which is present in a very small amount, obviously, and the our exploitation of it is not equal to how the earth or our planet is regenerating nowadays. Then we have atmospheric aerosol loading. Aerosols are small particles that, for example, are emitted. For example, when we use the body spray or perfume, these also emit the aerosols. So these are the particles that are creating atmospheric pollution, or that are creating some like diseases, like skin diseases, or like breathing diseases, respiratory diseases. There are presence of many particulate matter, like that are emitted from the burning of fossil fuel. Particulate matter of two sizes, like 2.5 micrometer and 10 micrometer. These are very, very fine particles that goes into our bloodstream, and this disturb our bodies, as well as of the plants, as well as of the animals. Then we have the last planetary boundary, I guess, that is the introduction of the novel entities, or in other terms, we call is chemical pollution. The pollution that of the chemicals that we are using for our manufacturing processes, that are using on our daily basis, that are we using every day, right? So I remember 2 years back, my brother asked me, everything has a positive impact, right? And you environmentalists claim that the planet has tendency to restore to its original form, and the concept of climate change is natural. Because we are aware that there was ice age, there was this age, that the atmosphere of the earth wasn't same as it is now in many, many, many millions or billion years ago. So what's all the fuss? Why are you crying for the climate change, the concept that why do you think it is dangerous? Well, my reply was that the main purpose is our survival. Yes, the atmosphere of the earth was different. Yes, we had different types of atmosphere. Where it is now, we have deserts. There was green lushing land when we study our past. But we learned that how these processes took millions of years to occur, to take place. And when we look at what our industrial revolution has done, it has actually fastened up all the processes. Like, for example, what could have uh, uh, the land that we have, for example, we are seeing that there are rainfall or flooding occurring in the desert areas. So it could have begun by the natural process maybe in 3040, but it has begun in 2000s, and it is resulting in make making our survival difficult, of us human beings, of animals, of everything, is making the survival of all of us difficult. So that is why it is important to study the concept of sustainability, to study the planetary boundaries, to study why do we need to stop what we are doing to our planets, why do we need to consume the things that we are consuming in a reasonable way. Now, the figures that you can see on your screens, first one is of 2009, and these are actually the visual representation of what we discussed in the previous slide, that is planetary boundaries. Now, the scientists measured that in 2009, we only we crossed only two boundaries out of 9 boundaries, as you can see in the picture or in the figure. And when this same process was studied in 2015, you can see that the orange line has reached to like two completely, two are half, and one is like 75%, right? And when we look at the figure of 2023 finding, the last year, we have crossed six, almost 100%, and the remaining we have started to cross, I guess. Alarming, isn't it? Right? You can see that we have crossed like 6 of them, and remaining are orange, started to grow orange and started to grow out of the safe operating space. So, don't you think, matlab, are we really ready? What we are practicing nowadays, are we really ready to face the irreversible consequences? According to some estimate, we have time till 2030, and according to some or major of the estimates, we have time till 2050 to reverse the damage up to some extent, or maybe at least stop more damage to the ecosystem. But again, it's up to us uh, how we will manage that damage, because after these threshold or the planetary boundaries, the limit of these planetary boundaries is crossed, the whole system would be irreversible. The earth won't be able to regenerate itself, and obviously we do not have any other planet to migrate towards, right? So we need to now become serious regarding this concept of sustainability. Now, as I previously suggest, the industries, since their revolution, has played a negative role towards the destruction of our planets. But they do have the capacity to raise these sustainability issues that they have created, like climate change, like natural resource exploitation, waste production, water pollution and scarcity, deforestation, air pollution, decreasing biodiversity, etc., as opportunities as well. The planetary boundary actually explains the sustainable challenges that we have put our Earths into. How would be their impact? But at the same times, it gives us the measurement to minimize the negative externalities. It is also giving us that how and what areas do we need to work on to improve the quality of life for us, quality of life for our future generation, and the future generation as well. Now, I stated a concept called externalities or negative externalities. Externalities, actually, the word is any positive or negative outcome of any economic activity that affects the third party, that is not directly related to the activity, you and me, obviously. For example, soil erosion and chemical runoff. For example, when we are constructing a road, the soil erosion and runoff into the downstream, into the stream area, and it would affect the people that has had nothing to do with that road, that had nothing to do with any activity in construction of the road. That would be the example of negative externality, the negative impact of any economic activity on the third party, right? So we have also positive externality. For example, we have a firm or an organization or a business, and they give rightful taxes to the government. All right. So by receiving the taxes from that organization or firm, the government would use those taxes in building a, for example, research institute for a sustainable development. So that would be the case of positive externalities, that effect of any of economic activity on a third party, the third party being us as community or citizens, that that had no role in making the organization paying the tax to that government and building that sustainability research institute, but it would affect, positively affect us or the community of that area. But how we practice, we have negative externalities more and we have positive externality less. They say obviously gain is private and loss is public. So externality uh, two could be environmental externality, social externality, and also economic externality, just like the concept of sustainability. uh, Now we were talking about positive and negative aspects of industries, right? Let's take an example of a petrochemical industry. Obviously, their activities give out what? Carbon dioxide emission, right? Methane emission, leakage, oil spills, deforestation. They all are negative externalities, right? But at the same time, uh, this can be used as an opportunities for the sustainability. For example, resource efficiency. For example, the petroleum industry is what? Mitigating the negative externalities, like controlling their methane leakage. Stopping it would not only reduce their negative externality, but also reduce the cost, which would obviously include in the category of resource efficiency. Then energy source, obviously, petrochemical industry, like I already mentioned, as British Petroleum claims that they are gonna use the renewable resources as a source of energy, instead of using fossil fuels for their own processes. That would obviously not only cut the cost, but also gives innovative opportunities and would also reduce the carbon footprint towards their services and products. Next is resilience, like better processes, better practices, better research towards their supply and chain distribution. For example, stopping or preventing the oil spills, stopping or preventing the undersea mining, plastic to fuel technology development, like they have new technology, ultrasound technology, that creates 3D images of inside the oil wells, so it is cost efficient as well as less damaging to the environment. We have now artificial intelligence that can be used to eliminate the operational inefficiencies, carbon capturing and storing technologies, etc. This was just one example that how an organization can develop their sustainability issues into the opportunities, right? Now, coming towards the topic of discussion, do you believe that governments have the role in efficiently controlling externalities? What's your opinion on it? That can governments help the environmentalist or sustainable practices to control their externalities? Sir Mohsin Jamil, can you explain if you think that government have efficient role in controlling externalities? All right, then Malik Wahab, could you give your point of view that what could be the role of government in controlling externalities? Anyone? Mr. Hamza Khalid, can you give your opinion on how government can control the negative externalities?
Yeah, I would say that the most important task for any government in controlling the externalities efficiently would be to have a proper, legal framework in place, and not only put in place but ensure its implementation. As we see in our country, in Pakistan as well, we have, legal framework in place, but it has not been being implemented. The regulatory bodies responsible for the enforcement are not making sure that it is being enforced and implemented. So yeah, that's how the government can, uh, regulate the externalities by having a proper legal framework, legal system in place, and then ensuring its implementation by regular checks, monitoring, inspections, and all that.
Excellent. Mr. Junaid Fida, can you elaborate or add another point that how can government efficiently control externalities?
Uh, I think I would second the opinion of Hamza Khalid that by having this legal framework and making sure that this legal framework is being implemented and enforced, and there should be like a system where could be penalties and rewards associated with all these regulations to make sure that they are being enforced and implemented. So I think that it can be controlled by the government.
Yeah, exactly. Abdul Tawab Afridi, can you add an additional point if you have any regarding the topic of discussion? Thank you, Junaid
Yeah,
Fida, sir.
I will add one point, and they gave awareness local bodies like make community, and they give awareness regarding to this, make consultancy regarding to this
Yes, thank
and
you.
proper training.
Obviously, yeah. Okay, now what our fellows here excellently described that what government can do to uh, efficiently control externalities, implementation of laws and regulation, giving out penalties and rewards, and awareness programs. For example, there are some limit on pollution emission, like for example we have noise pollution limitation. Our EPD, environmental protection department, does that obviously not very efficiently, but we do have these regulations that for example on cars with faulty exhaust system, they pose penalties to those cars, they restrict their driving license, etc. Similar is the case with the factories of or such businesses. And there are some in some or many, especially in developed countries, they have taxes and subsidies Like they have carbon tax in many countries. They have put subsidies to encourage the activities that would generate a positive externality. Like, for example, carbon. If an industry has developed their carbon capturing and sequestration technology, they may be using not only capturing the carbon dioxide emission, but also they are using it to create any products, for example, like or any carbonaceous product, or into the fuel, or simply just carbon capturing the carbon and handing over that carbon dioxide to the relevant industry that are converting that particular carbon into useful products. So they have subsidies, they have businesses related to them. uh, Also, government, what a government can do is developing property rights. For example, we have in Pakistan declaration of that Magla Hills in Islamabad has been declared, that some portion of it has been declared into a national park. Now, national park is what it's a conserve to in order to conserve the ecosystem in that area. Now, Magla Hills, you are must be aware that in the Texla region, and beyond that, the Magla Hill is being crushed for their limestone production, right? So the part of those Magla Hills in the Islamabad region has been declared into a national park. So, and any sort of activity, any sort of deforestation activity like stone crushing or like cutting of tree is banned over there by Supreme Court. And there is a system called cap and trade system in US and in European countries, that government sets an emission cap and issues a quantity of emission that is allowed to those industries, and it acts as a market for the pollution actually. And with the passage of time, the cap is becoming smaller and smaller, like the allowance of the quantity of emission is becoming shorter and shorter, and the government actually pays them for that. In Europe, this practice was established in 2005, and in US it was started in 2009, I guess. So such are the regulatory, or such are the systems that are proposed by many governments all over the world in controlling their carbon emission, in controlling their climate change, in etc etc. Furthermore, obviously, information provision is also not only the job of NGOs but also of the government. For example, in Pakistan, we are aware that we get the smog issue, especially in the areas near Lahore and Multan and this area. So it is the duty of government, and I guess the government is doing that up to some extent by warning the farmers to how to properly dispose of, because it is mostly due to the burning of that all the crops and weeds in that region. If you see that they burn the remaining crops during the season, I guess in September or October, and that's when the smog issue starts, right? So it is the duty of government to uh, give out the awareness programs or give out the penalties and rewards, and to educate all those farmers and local bodies how to prevent or how to properly dispose of their weeds and their waste from the crops. You guys are not tired, right, of all the discussion, or you're not getting brain jam or anything?
No, no, it's okay.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, then let's continue. Otherwise, I thought we may take a small break to introduce some new fellows that are here, if they want to. If you want to introduce yourself, there are some new faces over here, just to relax your minds.
Yeah, sure.
All right. I guess Abdul Tawab Afridi, it's your first session here with me today.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Could you introduce yourself to all the fellows over here?
Yeah, my name is Abdul Tawab Afridi. I am working here from last 2012 in Saudi Arabia. Presently, I work here in Riyadh with the construction company EPG.
All right. You work regarding in any environmental field or
Yeah, environmental
all right, all right.
supervisor.
Okay. And Mr. Mohsin Jamil, I guess it's your first session today as well.
Yes, it's my
Oh,
first session. So, Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
walaikum
So,
salam.
most of the people in the class knows me. They know me. Anyhow, so my name is Mohsin Jamil and I am 37 years old. I am working in Pakistan and it's been 18 years in the field. I am working as a national HSE manager of Nokia Pakistan, and I am currently pursuing MPhil in EHS management from Superior University. And so, because my basic permanent job, my primary field is occupational health and safety. So, because the things are going into the direction that sustainability is getting involved in everything, so it seems like that in the future, OHS will be a subhead of the sustainability. So, I choose to get into it as well.
Yeah,
So, this is it.
good. Anyone else is new? Mohammed Khalid, I guess you are new here as well. Sir, if you would like to introduce yourself to the fellows over here. All right, I guess that's it for the introductions. Now coming back towards our topic. Okay. Now let's briefly discuss some important international agreements on the climate change. Now, there were many conventions, many treaties, and many conferences on this particular subject on climate change, on sustainable development. But I'm only gonna briefly discuss some of some most important ones. First is Montreal Protocol. That was done in 1987, and it was actually done to discuss that how to protect the stratospheric ozone layer depletion. And during this protocol and in extension to this protocol, many rules or many regulations were formed. For example, they banned the CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, that our old air conditioning systems and refrigerators used to emit, that were creating a havoc over ozone layers, and it was rapidly destroying the ozone layer. So because of the Montreal Protocol and the related conferences, they banned the use of CFCs to lessen the damage to the ozone layer. And according to the scientists, the ozone layer is now self-regulating itself or self-healing itself. And I mean, the Montreal Protocol, the is signatory by 197 countries. Next is UNFCCC, that is UN United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, 1992. It's actually the international treaty on climate and human, and it includes how or focus on how to educate, how to train the public, and how to participate or include the local public into the dealings, into controlling the climate change. And it also, the part of, you must have heard the COP, right? COP21, COP22, COP23, and we had recently COP28. It's actually the part of UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention, that is Conference of the Parties. And the latest one was in UAE. I guess it was in this year or the December of last year. It was 28, right? Next is Kyoto Protocol 2005. It is also international treaty. It's actually the extension of UNFCCC again. And in this, during this treaty, or this treaty actually listed the 7 GHGs, that is greenhouse gases, the major ones that is causing the global warming of our uh, whole planet, like carbon dioxide, methane, like nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbon, etc. Then we have Paris Agreement that was done on 2015. That too was on climate change, and it was adopted by 196 parties, and it had the main focus on keeping the global temperature rise of this century well below 2 degrees Celsius than pre-industrial level. Actually, the temperature of the Earth was low. I guess the overall temperature was 19 or something. I don't remember now. Um, so the goal of the Paris Agreement was not to increase, not to raise, let the temperature of the Earth raise more than 2 degrees Celsius than it was in pre-industrial zone in the 18th century, obviously, because after the 2 degrees centigrade, as I already mentioned, that the whole process would be irreversible, and this whole planet is built on a very delicate balance. Raising the temperature up to 0.5 degrees Celsius too is very dangerous, as you can see that our oceans are warming. We have exceeded actually 1.5 degrees Celsius than the pre-industrial zone, and you can see that seas are warming, the aquatic life is being disturbed, many have gone extinct, our glaciers are melting just from this 1.5 degrees Celsius. So what will happen when 2 degrees Celsius would increase? Obviously the damage would be irreversible, and we will not be able to get our Earth back to its current position. Then we have Kunming-Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework in 2022. As the name suggests, it includes the nature laws. It includes how the human has an impact on the species, their extinction, their sustainable usage, they aim to reverse the nature loss by the year 2030. And then we have United Nations, obviously, Sustainable Development Goals. And these goals include every aspect of our lives. As you can see on your screen, that they include goals related to poverty, hunger, health, education, gender equality, water sanitation, energy, economic growth, industrial innovation, inequality, cities and communities, and each and every aspect. Like the goal number 12 we have already discussed, right? If you want to study more detail that how and these goals are being fulfilled, or how United Nations is doing that, they have a whole group of whole information on their websites, the United Nations website. Now, we have been repeatedly saying throughout our session that it is because of industrial revolution, it is because of the businesses, it is because of the firms that we have reached this point. We have reached this whole climate change situation. We have reached this whole global warming situation. We have destroyed our ozone. We are crossing the limits of our planetary boundaries, all because of this industrial revolution. And we have also discussed that businesses who have destroyed our Earth or our planet can also act as a source to reverse that old damage. But how can those businesses do that? How can business be sustainable? So we have actually related to this concept is business ethics, the concept of business ethics. Now, ethics, everybody is aware that it deals with the moral duties and obligations of anybody. It could be you, it could be me, it could be any organization. Ethics is concerned with truth and justice. It concerns a variety of aspects like expectations of the society, fair competition, public relations, social responsibility, corporate behavior, etc. But when we put ethics into the category of business, it becomes a code of conduct that businessmen or that business organizations are expected to follow while dealing with others being their stakeholders, consumers, employees, shareholders, everyone. And it includes their public relationship of that organization, social responsibilities, and the corporate behavior. Now, how the ethics is related to sustainability? By following the ethical guidelines. First of all, the organization or a business or firm should be transparent about their sustainable practices. Like, it should be responsible and transparent what they are doing and what they intend to do. That means no greenwashing, no unsustainable CSR. They should be honest with all the stakeholders. They must comply with the international and national regulations regarding environment, regarding society, regarding economical practices, regarding sustainability. They must be socially responsible towards all stakeholders throughout the supply chain. Must properly engage all stakeholders, especially the local community. After all, who better knows all ins and out of the area where any business or any firm is going to operate their practices. Most important of all, since sustainability deals with the present and future, so business ethics has to make sure to adopt a long-term perspective for sustainable practices by those organizations, by those firms, and by those organizations, and make steps for the continuous improvement in the procedures and planning. Now, there are some ethical schools of thoughts that we are gonna link with our goal of sustainable business ethics or sustainability. First, we have utilitarianism. I'm not gonna go into the detail of all these schools of thoughts. Obviously, it would be very lengthy and very boring. I'm just gonna briefly describe that how many ethical schools of thoughts are linked with sustainability, the many philosophers define. First is utilitarianism. It's an ethical theory that asserts or forces that right and wrong are best determined by focusing on outcomes of actions and choices. Utilitarianism says or asserts that what is right and what is wrong, we can only decide when we focus on the outcome or result or consequences of the action or choices. And how this is related to the sustainable business, or it can be related to sustainable, that is foregoing short-term benefits over long-term benefit. Utilitarianism, if you can think about it, that when we think what would be the outcome, only then we can decide that what are the wrong and what are the right practices, right? So the sustainability also actually discusses or focuses on the long-term benefits rather than the short-term. So these are linked in such a way that both these theories consider the long-term or talk about the future aspects or the future outcomes. We have another expectancy theory, and it suggests that behavior is motivated by the anticipated results or consequences. Again, the same thing, say one and the same things, you can say they have their similarities. What the behavior is motivated, what you are doing, what I'm gonna do, it depends upon what I think or you think would be the consequences. So this again is related to sustainability by if we go deeper into building achievable goals. Like, if you think that something we are doing is not achievable, if the goal is not achievable, it's not a realistic target, obviously we're not gonna do it. So setting such goals by the organization that are not क्या कह सकते हैं, हवा में तीर नहीं है वो, बल्कि what are they actually, they are achievable. We think that we would be able to achieve them, and we are taking small steps at a time, only then we would be able to go for a long-term change or long-term sustainable achievement. Because obviously we know that if we have the skill, if those goals are able to be are achievable, only then we will work hard for them. Then we have Kantanian ethics. It emphasizes the importance of moral principle, rationality, and human dignity in guiding ethical decision making. Now, we have already discussed that sustainability also deals with the human rights, equality, equity, justice. So, Kantanian ethics is related to sustainability in such a way that people should be treated as themselves rather than
Hamza,
the
please mute your mic. Hamza, please mute your mic. I think Aisha, you can mute as you will be organizer, or we cannot.
try.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. And we have equity theory that suggests that individuals are motivated by fairness and equality of the workplace. They're gonna, if you are getting the output related to or equal to the input that you are putting into any work, obviously only then you're gonna be motivated. That is the fairness and equality. And obviously we have already discussed that sustainability also focuses or emphasize on the employee participation in recognizing their contribution irrespective of their race, their gender, their ethnicity. Basically, many schools of thoughts in different fields of the ethics are more or less, when you observe or when you go deeper, you may say that they end up at sustainability, the concept of sustainability. What we see and learn from these theories, from this perspective, is solely in our own hands. Now, the ethical guidelines I have already previously discussed. Obviously, for the business to operate on sustainable practices, I have already discussed, I guess, it should be transparent. It would compliance with the regulation. It should have environmentally, socially responsible. The engagement of the stakeholder is important. Right cycle assessment, like how we are extracting the raw material and how we are processing that raw material and how we are using that raw material, and then if we are using or recycling that raw material or the product in its however form, is also one of the ethical guideline for the sustainability business. Okay, continuous improvement and accountability and reporting. Now we have some examples, like we have example of Tesla. You all are aware of that name, Tesla. It focuses on sustainable transportation and they aim to reduce the reliance on the fossil fuel. So they are also acting on the ethical guidelines for the sustainability in the business. We have another example of Patagonia. It's a clothing brand based on California, US. And they claim that they use organic cotton. Their labor practices are fair regardless of the ethnicity, regardless of the gender, throughout their supply chain. From the raw material extraction to the development to the when their brand go to the store, either online or the physical store, they say that their labor practices are fair. They donate, they contribute to the charities, and their main focus or the main important part is they encourage their customers to repair the clothing rather than replacing. They have a program called as Worn Wear, a program that recycle the used clothes or the second-hand clothing store, they can be found in their online stores. So these are some of the organization examples of the organization or businesses that they are practicing the ethical guidelines for the sustainable development of the business. Now, obviously, all of that cannot be achieved if organization itself has no ethical culture from top to bottom. The goal is not to just develop a business, sustainable business on the outside, but also you have to develop an ethical culture in the whole, in each and every level of the organization, so that you can practice the business ethics to get a sustainable business. Okay, now, and all of it starts obviously from the commitment of the leadership. If the leader show commitment to the strong ethics, obviously the employees would follow suit. Then, after leader show its commitment, they would obviously establish the clear code of conduct for their whole organization, that what they think would be the expected behaviors and standard within an organization on the behavior of the employees, on the behavior of their all the stakeholders. They need to establish the clear code of conduct. Then obviously transparency and accountability is the most, I guess, important part in any ethical culture of any organization. Training and education, obviously you are developing a code of conduct. You need to train your employees, you need to train each and every person in that organization on the how and what is the what should be the code of conduct, what should be the ethical culture, and how to link that into their sustainable development of the organization, into their products, into their services, and into their actions. Again, fair treatment. Without it, compliance is irrelevant. If you are not treating everyone with respect and not giving everyone within an organization a fair treatment, obviously that would negate the concept of ethics, right? The basis of ethics is fairness. So fair treatment and respect throughout each and every, or throughout the whole hierarchy of an organization is important. And for everything to be done in a fair way, stakeholder engagement, be it the employees, be it the leaders, be it the vendors, be it the community, that their engagement from the extraction of the raw material or the extraction of the eco services to the manufacturing of the product to the disposal of the product, the engagement of each and every stakeholder is one of the prime responsibility for a business to develop ethical culture and to develop a sustainable organization. And the result of obviously recognition and rewards is also very important. As I already mentioned, that if a person is treated fair and if is given a reward of what he of in the equal way of what he or she has done, so he would obviously drive or work harder for the process more and more. Now, the overview of what we have discussed today is what sustainability, how and why sustainability is important in every aspect of life, in every aspect of our dealings. How firms and organizations are cheating on creating a false illusion of sustainability, how planetary boundaries are being crossed, and how they indicate their impending danger that is on our earth and planet and our own survival. We have also discussed that how firms and organizations aid in creating sustainable practicing rather than creating havoc that they have already done since the Industrial Revolution. We have discussed all of this. So अगर आपका कोई question है, कोई query है regarding today's session, so I would try to satisfy your answer. किसी को कोई पूछ रहा है? or if anyone wants to give their input के what do they think कि जो उनकी particular organization है जिसके लिए वो लोग काम कर रहे हैं कि उनकी किस तरह से organizations sustainability की तरफ जा सकती हैं या जा रही हैं, और what they are contributing to the whole this whole concept of sustainability.
I would like to suggest one thing, if it is possible, please.
Sure.
Actually, I just wanted to, for all of us, for all the, candidates to have a look at the, our syllabus of the diploma and recommended, um, uh, resources to refer to or to read. And for example, today's session was about, all about sustainability,
Mhm.
CSR. Then what's the link between the CSR and sustainability? What was the difference? And then triple bottom, line and all those things. तो मेरी ये suggestions थी, ये बहुत अच्छा रहेगा कि अगर before each session, before each class, हम syllabus को एक दफ़ा refer कर लें. Because I downloaded that document from their website, Autumn's website. But उसको बेहतर होगा कि आप अगर हमें बिफोर ईच सेशन हमें लर्निंग ऑब्जेक्टिव्स बता के उस पर्टिकुलर सेशन के उसको एक दफ़ा रेफर करवा लें कि इस टॉपिक को इस पॉइंट को इस these fundamental things we will cover in this session. तो वो बड़ा एक अच्छा हो जाएगा हमारे लिए, ताकि we can just cross all those sections on the syllabus we have read through or gone through.
Alright. वैसे तो अगर आपने schedule देखा हो तो after this session, like on next Friday, हमारा जो भी syllabus है उससे ही related actually आप लोगों का session है, that how and what we learned and how you're gonna study that everything related to today's session. वो इसी से related ही है, assignments वगैरह से related कि किस तरह से करनी है. But वैसे I will for the next session I will share the key points or the course content to you in the group, ताकि आप लोग उसको एक तरफ देख कर आ जाओ और इस तरह से participation ज़्यादा अच्छे से भी हो जाती है और discussion based हो जाता है. Alright, that's a good suggestion. Sure.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to add something? Or any suggestion or stuff? Alrighty. If you need, I could share the slides. Okay, end slides pe I have put some resources that I have used to prepare regarding today's session topic. तो मैं try करूँगी मैं कल तक आप लोगों को ये slides भी share कर दूँ ताकि आप लोगों को help हो जाए. And it was pleasure discussing all that with you. Have a nice remaining day, and Allah Hafiz till our next session.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.